Well, a common stereotype of the military is that most who serve are from low-income families, have limited option for higher education, and that the majority of those who serve are in fact minorities. But writer Marlowe says this is simply not true. She took a look at some of the statistics, and she wrote a piece just recently in the Wall Street Journal. One of the parts that really stood out to us is this, quote, "This detachment is the result of a withdrawal of our urban elites from military service, and it suits the interest of many members of the urban elite to believe that the military they do not join is composed of poor, uneducated victims of an unfair society." That's some profound words there, Anne, and something that probably needs some better explanation on what exactly you found when you looked through the statistics. Are those stereotypes true?
Oh, absolutely not. The Heritage Foundation did a study in 2008 looking at year 2000 census data and found that the poorest 20% of American census tracts only produce 10% of the recruits into all the services. So in other words, the poorest Americans are underrepresented in all the services. And that was in 2006 and 2007. In 2010, the Department of Defense studied what they call the Army Profile, and this information is available on the Department of Defense website. And that shows that, contrary to another very dangerous myth, that blacks and whites serve in the Army in roughly their percentage in the overall American population.
You know, it's interesting just to hear some of these statistics, because I know you've been back and forth to Afghanistan many times. You just recently were in Libya several times as well. You've been with our troops. We've been at war for 10 years. Why do you think these myths still exist?
Well, I would say that the urban elites and the media elite doesn't spend much time with the military, and they certainly don't enlist in the military in anywhere near the percentages that they used to. Today, for example, there are just 14 Stanford undergraduates in ROTC. In the year 1956, there were 1,100. So those 1,100 people had a first-hand acquaintance with the military that our elite undergraduates don't today.
And if you don't have an acquaintance with the military, then number one, you're out of touch with what's going on militarily as far as our national security, but also, as you mentioned, it leads to some stereotypes. So how do you fix it? I mean, is it about the military getting out and talking a little bit about who they are? Is it what do we do to change and break some of these stereotypes that are out there?
Well, Jenna, that's a very good idea. I would say that neither the Army nor any of the other services seem to do a particularly good job of outreach on their websites in terms of conveying this information to the public. It's embedded in several layers that you have to go down into, and most people who haven't done research on this wouldn't know to look for FY10 Army Profile to find this information.
Well, we know your information is on this article, The Truth About Who Fights for Us, at thewallstreetjournal.com, and we look forward to having you back to talk more about Afghanistan and Libya and your experiences, Anne, but we appreciate today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you as well, and we'll be right back.